Hello everybody and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt and on today's episode, yes, you have guessed it, we are finally doing Wonder Woman. Now, if you guys have watched my most anticipated movies of the year, Wonder Woman was middle of the pack, maybe the lower half of my top 10, I think. And I was like excited for it, but it wasn't like super hype, and I was so wrong. It should have been my number one, and that is because by the time I was actually in the theater, right about to watch it, I was so excited. The weeks leading up to it, I was wondering what was going through my head when I made that list, and then when I found out I couldn't even watch it until a week after everybody else, I was pissed. I was so livid. I mean, I was trying to avoid spoilers like no other, and of course I got a couple spoilers, which I'm not very happy about, but you know, when you're scrolling through Twitter and they use a name, really ticks me off. But I'm gonna warn you right now, this video is gonna have mild spoilers on Wonder Woman, so if you haven't seen it, please don't watch this until you've seen Wonder Woman. I want everybody to get the full scope of the movie because it deserves it. And if you haven't guessed already, I love this movie. And I was almost sure I was going to be disappointed just because all of the hype and all of these reviews, and I saw so many people say how much they love it, and I'm like, God, I'm going into this so excited, too excited, that I'm going to be disappointed in whatever I see up on the screen. But I wasn't. I loved every moment of this film. This was a 2.5-hour film that felt like an hour and a half. It went by way too fast in my opinion, never felt like it was too long, and it had these very clear 1, 2, and third act. That doesn't make sense. First, second, third act. So the first act is pretty much when it's set in Themyscira, and you're meeting all of the Amazon warriors, and you're meeting Diana, who is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's never spoken in this film. It's all Diana Prince, which I kind of liked. Anyway, we get this great backstory involving Diana and how she grew up as the only child in this island of Amazon warriors, and how she's protected from her mom. She doesn't want her to learn how to fight. And when Diana is basically like, screw you, I'm gonna learn how to fight, she lets her finally do it, and she becomes one of the best warriors of the Amazon. She's still training when everything goes down, when Chris Pine as plane has gone into the Atlantic Ocean or wherever they are. I'm pretty sure it's the Atlantic Ocean. She does a 10 out of 10 swan dive into the ocean, saves Chris Pine. There's this big epic battle where we get a lot of the Amazonian fighting style with this new wave of guns, which they don't even know about. And what a lot of people might notice about this movie, there's a lot of slow-mo because this is DC, and if you didn't watch Man of Steel or, you know, Batman vs Superman, slow-mo fighting's in there. But I actually appreciate it in this movie because the fighting style felt so different. I wanted to see these like this really interesting movement that the Amazonians had come and had made, really. It just worked. Patty Jenkins just knew how to do it well without it seeming just like jarring and like, yeah, we get it, like, why don't you just take a book out of Michael Bay's book, you know? It didn't feel like that at all. And when we finally left Themyscira after Diana has decided that she is gonna go and find Ares and try to stop this war that Chris Pine's character, Steve Trevor, is talking about, she steals the sword, the God Killer sword, the lasso of truth, and her shield, and this really great outfit, and she and Chris Pine, well, Steve Trevor, go off to World War I. And I was sad to see Themyscira go. I would love to go back there in a sequel. I think it's so interesting, especially after the risks that they made in that battle. And I don't want to spoil it too much in case, you know, you didn't click off of this video when I told you should have. And I would love to see that dynamic between Diana and her mother again. I think that would just be really interesting, especially after she decides to leave, knowing that she may well never be able to come back. So then the second half gets a little bit darker in palette tones, and it matches more of what the DC EU has set up, which I like that kind of, I like that darkness, you know? I think it works for what it is. It's not supposed to be Marvel, it's supposed to be DC EU. You know, that is their palette, and I like it. And they did a really good job at lining up with Diana being this sort of, naive is a harsh word, but kind of like that. She's just like, she's this fish out of water, learning all of these new things. It's very comedic with being very earnest at the same time. And this is to Gal Gadot's amazing portrayal, I would say almost perfect portrayal of Wonder Woman, Diana Prince. I mean, people were nervous about her taking this role, not sure if she could actually act. let me tell you, she is an actress. Her portrayal of Wonder Woman is what makes the movie what it is. And such a high caliber performance is fantastic and exactly what we needed. And the thing about the DCU and Warner Brothers, and no matter what you say about Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad, they've picked really good people to play these characters. The characters are not what's the problem with this universe, you know? It's very divisive because of plots and stuff like that, but I mean, Ben Affleck as Batman is fantastic. Suicide Squad, for a mess of a movie it was, the characters were really cool. So I love Gal Gadot in this movie. I absolutely adore her. I think she is just... And she has great chemistry with almost everybody in the cast. I mean, her chemistry with Chris Pine as Steve Trevor is fantastic. I can see them falling in love on screen. And it doesn't feel too pushy. It feels very organic, really. It feels like it works. Whereas like sometimes in superhero films it feels like they're supposed to be together because that's what they are in the comics, and the two leads don't have the greatest chemistry. I'm not gonna name names, but it's pretty obvious. And this second half is where you meet all of these characters that are gonna mean a lot by the end of the movie. You meet the ragtag group of people that they bring together to get Diana to the front line, to find Ares, who she thinks is controlling the world through this great war, which we know is World War I. You meet Sir Patrick, who's played by David Thewlis, who is supposed to be this like peacemonger and trying to help with the peace accords, because this is towards the end of the war where the Germans and Britain and the Allies are all trying to sign something so this war can stop. And this is the act where you get quite possibly the greatest scene in a superhero film ever, and it is Diana going into no man's land during the trench warfare. It just gives you chills when you see it, because it's the first time she takes off her robe and you actually see her in the Wonder Woman costume. It's actually the time where you see just what she can do to mankind and give them hope and give them peace, really. And also, it comes in a time in the movie where she's had to look past some things that she didn't want to look past because they had to get her to the front line. And this was where it ended, when she heard there were people trapped at the other end of the trenches that they couldn't get to because it was called no man's land. But she's not a man, she's Wonder Woman. So she goes out there, she takes all of the bullet fire, and then Steve Trevor and his group come and they're able to shoot a couple people down, and Diana is able to go into the other trench and take out their machine gun, and that's when all of the British soldiers can rush now and they can take the city and save the city. And then that's when you hear that Wonder Woman theme, and it is placed in the perfect spaces. They give you slow-mo where you need to get slow-mo fighting. It speeds up and just shows her kicking people's asses. And then she destroys a guy, a sniper, up in this top of this church. It is a perfect scene. And it is a scene where when I watched, I was just like, I almost wanted to ask them to replay the scene in the theater. I would sit through a 2.5 hour movie of just that scene over and over and over again. And then we get to the third act of the film, which I still really liked. It's not as good as the first or the second, because those two were just so good. I still really liked it. It is very DCEU, modern day superhero feel, where you have to have that big showdown. And this is the scene where you cannot tell me that Gal Gadot didn't know this character or can't act or any of this stuff, because when she sees, big spoiler, please do not watch this if you don't want to be spoiled, it's the big spoiler in the entire movie. When she sees Steve Trevor sacrifice himself and blow up the plane that has all of the gas that could kill people for 50 miles wide, that pain that she felt, I felt it. Like, I was heartbroken. I felt like I watched someone who just lost the love of their life. Something that a lot of people would have doubted that Gal Gadot could do, but she did. She made me feel, I cried in the theater on this, and admittedly I cry in most movies, but I was bawling my eyes out when this happened because he was such a great character, they had such great chemistry, and you could just feel how much it hurt, which gave her the strength to kick Ares' ass. Now, this movie made me feel so many things, it's making so many other people feel things, and while it's an incredibly important film to women, as well as just in general to the movie making public of, you know, getting more women filmmakers and women's stories. I mean, it took 76 years to get Wonder Woman a movie? That's crazy. And it took Patty Jenkins' first movie after Monster. It took her that long. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. But besides all of that importance, it's just a really great movie. And I've been thinking about this since I saw it, which was about 24 hours ago. I think this is my favorite superhero movie of all time. I think, in my opinion, it beats The Dark Knight, which I know is going to get a lot of hate, so please don't at me. It beats The Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just, there was something about it that connected with me so much that it's my favorite. This is a movie I would buy the second it goes out on sale on Apple or whatever. It's a movie that I will have to own. It's a movie that I will try to get everybody to watch. It's a movie that I hope does like a 20% drop, which is nothing in box office. Like, to get a 20% drop would be amazing. It made over $100,000. It made over $100 million in opening weekend box office. If it can make 75 to 80 this weekend, which would be an incredibly tall order, but if it could do that, that would be absolutely mind-boggling. And if they don't sign Patty Jenkins for a second Wonder Woman, which they will, they're just going to have to pay for it because Patty Jenkins has a lot of leverage now. Also the fact that she could be stolen away by another film, but I think that she's really passionate about Wonder Woman, so I think that she will continue on with it. I pray to God. And I don't think they need to fast track the sequel. I think that I would like to see the Batgirl and Justice League Dark before I see another Wonder Woman 2, or, you know, also get that Batman movie, but I don't even know if that's ever happening. But we will get another Wonder Woman, and, you know, God bless that day. Okay, that is my review of Wonder Woman. Did you guys like it? Of course you did. Comment down below. Tell me how much you loved it. If you hated it, get off my channel. Also, give it a thumbs up if you did like it. Subscribe. I make reviews Monday and Friday. On Wednesday, I put out a little sketch. So if it's not your thing, come Monday, Friday. But please do check that out. I need the views and I need the subscribers. So please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you Monday. Bye!